Guys, welcome back to another week of Mortgage Matters in Minutes, here sponsored by Mortgage Specialists. Today, being hopefully the start of spring as the weather starts to warm up here throughout the days, we're going to talk about keeping your documents in order, and that's a pretty big open task of a lot of different things to chat about here. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it means and what it does, obviously, first to keep your documents in order and what you can do to help benefit your situation. What we've ran into through the years is the more organized you are, the easier it is to get loans. And a lot of people think, getting a mortgage or going and open a car loan and things like that is very much a lot of work and challenging, and it can be. But the more organized you are, the easier and faster it is. And we can tell clients this till we're blue in the face, but what we love seeing is when we get a Google review back that says, hey, that was much easier than I ever thought it would be. And I usually always chalk it up to, that's because you're organized. You supplied the paperwork, you went out and got the items that we need, we handle all the back end stuff, but it all comes down to that forefront information. The reason why we're talking about this today is usually coming up here in about 10 days, today being April 5th, is taxes are due. And with taxes being due, you're usually running around digging up paperwork, getting those W-2s, getting those deductions, those different health insurance forms, all different kinds of items that are needed. And what I feel is when you're doing that and you get your taxes completed, people are just happy to have that off their desk. But I would suggest to you that even though those are complete and are getting completed, save a copy of that information. Find a place that you feel is safe and secure, and you're going to remember where you put that at, and save those taxes and W-2s. Not always do we need the income taxes, but W-2s usually are always going to be needed on mortgage loans. And I know that's usually the biggest struggle that consumers have is, someone else will keep that information for me. And I would say not always is that the case. You need to save that information for yourself because at some point in time, other people are going to ask that information. Not just me as a mortgage professional, but also possibly if you do get audited, the IRS, or someone that's going to be giving you disability insurance, or something else, verification for your kids' student loans. They do want to have you verify your income. So while you're doing your taxes and your W-2s this year, go ahead and save those and keep those in a good spot. Another big key to keeping your documents in order is knowing your logins. One thing that we run into is that consumers started a company and they maybe create a password for their internal company's website and never really access it or go there again. But usually it's super easy if you have access to that information to log in, download your pay stubs, download your W-2s, and have access to that information very easily. Third thing we can advise for you to do is have some kind of a filing system. I'm a little bit more old school. I like to keep paper files in file folders and documents lined up. I also have an electronic filing system on a server that has different folders of different accounts that I have or information that I need, and as I get that documentation, I'll put that in that folder. So have some kind of documented system, whether it's electronic, on your computer, your laptop, your iPad, in the cloud, any of those places, but know and have a structure to that. Maybe have a year worth of folders or a folder where every year underneath that has the person's information for your utility bills or for your paychecks. Because what always happens is when we ask for information or someone does, that's the biggest struggle they have is going and finding the information that is needed for the pre-approval or for the loan process itself. The last two things I would suggest is if you do that electronic filing system, have some sort of a backup. Backup online and in the cloud is very inexpensive. And I know people think of this often, but never go and actually get it set up. And they say, someday I'll get to that, someday I'll get to that. And then their laptop crashes or their computer crashes, their hard drive fails, and they can't get that information back. So you can suggest putting that on the cloud somewhere, having a backup system, and then lastly, keep yourself a password manager. And for all the different passwords you're going to create, I know password's a common password, Husker123, your dog's name, your address, all kinds of those common things. But I would suggest you come up with a safe and secure password with numbers, capitalizations, special digits, and make it or it's not words. It's all different. Last year I spent months going through and changing all my passwords to make them safe and secure for more safety issues these days when it comes to hacking and things of that nature as well. So now that we're in the springtime, we always think about spring cleaning in our homes. And I would suggest you also keeping yourself a fire safe around your home to be able to put those safe documents in, like your birth certificates, your date of birth, your social security cards, any of those different pieces of information, and keeping those safe in some kind of a fire safe that withholds, or a safety deposit box, or even possibly scan that documentation in and keeping it on that server that we chatted about as well too. Hopefully those are some tips that you can go through. I know one last thing that insurance agents would advise you to do is to film your entire home and its contents in case of a fire, tornado, anything that would damage the property, because many times you might remember today what is in your house, but when you get down to every single drawer and kitchen cabinet and storage area in your house, you might not always remember what's in there. So hopefully you learned a couple things today of spring cleaning tips, keeping your documents in order, keeping organized, keeping passwords, and having a backup for everything in case there is that emergency in your life. So again, another week here of Mortgage Matters in Minutes. You can always check us out on our website at mtg-specialists.com or phone us at 402-991-5153. We hope you all have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you here next week, same time, same place. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.